back, everybody. This is another episode of the Exodus Project. I'm your host, Steve Eisenhower, and today I have a very special guest, a very, very interesting story, and something I think everyone is going to truly enjoy. I'm joined with my new friend, Justin Vankoughnett. If you'd like to introduce yourself, say hi.
How's it going?
And he comes from a religious background that I'm sure most of us aren't acquainted with. So I think you're all going to really enjoy hearing this story. I'll just leave everyone with Justin, you were actually in the, how would you consider that? The Norse polytheon myth? Like, I don't, yeah, so I'm just going to turn it over to you, let you talk about it a little bit.
All right. So basically I was an Odinist.
An Odinist, okay.
Well, just like there's several sects of Christianity, there's all kinds for paganism, including Norse mythology. But right now, I just consider it Norse mythology because that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
None of it's real. But yeah, basically, I was more familiar with there's several gods like Odin, Thor. I'm sure most people have seen the Marvel movies and are familiar with those. Loki. I guess I was more familiar with I was more of a patron to the god Loki.
Wow.
So, that was basically what I was doing. I built several idols, all kinds of things. There's still some of them are out in my yard. I don't know how to get rid of them.
Wow.
I was more or less like a person that people would go to, like within the groups for advice, much like confession with a Catholic priest or things like that. Just general advice on life, and yeah, that's what I did. So I was that for many years.
Wow.
And yeah, one day I just discovered the Old Testament again. Like I had a background with it going to Catholic school as a child, but I'd never listened to it from this perspective of an actual Jewish person or a rabbi before. And
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of what got me. When I was speaking to a young man before, who was having some trouble, like anger issues in his life. So I decided to talk to him about what he was going through, and he explained to me that some Jewish person did him wrong or something like that, and he has to kill him. And I know there's maybe you've seen the show Vikings or things like that. There's this whole
right.
Vikings and Christians. That's not like a real thing or anything. That's TV.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I'm not going to promote Norse paganism, I mean the people that practice it they don't hate Christians, they don't hate Jews. It's just the day-to-day life. Some take it to the extreme though, and this kid was. And I was talking to him why do you want to do this? Like, this isn't a good thing to want to do. Like, no one's going to appreciate this. No one's going to respect this. This is breaking the law. This is not, that religion's based a lot on honor. And that's not an honorable thing to do, to just kill somebody.
Right.
Don't what you believe. Like, that's silly. But after talking with him, I just I realized I don't know anything about the Jewish religion, what this man could have said to this kid that would make him so angry. So I decided to research rabbis and the Jewish religion a little more, and I started realizing that you can't argue with what they're saying.
Wow.
Pick apart the New Testament all day long and pull out contradictions and things that maybe, but I can't argue with a rabbi about what's in the Old Testament. To me, it's very real. It makes sense, and there's an answer to almost anything in life in that. And so I made the transition over to becoming. At first, I wanted to actually convert to become Jewish, but that's because I didn't know anything about Noachide laws or anything like that. I was just
right. After
researching Noachide laws, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm going to be. I'm not going to convert to becoming Jewish. That's not necessary. I'm just going to stay where I'm at.
Right.
As Noachide.
Yeah, I totally understand. Totally get that for sure. If you don't mind me asking, like, so you mentioned that you were kind of like an elder in this Norse religion. Um, but you had mentioned that we're gonna dial it way back here. You mentioned that you went to Catholic school. So like, what
Yeah.
was the factor that led you into this Norse mythology religion, this Odinism? Like, what sparked that transition? And then moving forward, obviously, you got sparked back out of it. So,
Well, like going to Catholic school, like I'm not gonna lie to you, I've never believed them at all when they said anything. It
hmm,
just doesn't make sense to me. Um, but not that I dislike Catholics. Like that's fine. You can believe what you wish, and that's totally okay. But it was just really hard for me to understand like the story of Jesus and all these contradictions, even that you're being told by a priest, and you're just supposed to kind of accept it.
right.
But in going to Catholic school in the library, there's a class where you got to study religions basically.
Okay.
Um, in Catholic school, it's just part of it. And I picked up a book on Norse mythology, and I thought, well, like to me, Catholicism isn't real. So does that mean like any spirituality is really real? But I felt inside that spirituality is a real thing. Like we do it
Mhm.
just naturally are spiritual as beings. So if I'm going to choose a spirituality, I may as well choose something that's kind of cool, you know. So I went with
Right,
Norse
right. Hmm.
because it's got all the cool. Well, they make Marvel movies about it, right? So I mean,
Right, right. Yeah.
it's alluring to people. You watch the show Vikings, and now there's a big popular boost in Viking culture,
Hmm.
and it's that's basically why I just went with the hype. I guess it was
Gotcha.
a popular choice.
While you were in that, did you like have any type of religious experience? Like, was it fulfilling, or, I mean,
Um, it's very nature oriented. So I mean, I could see
okay.
two ravens flying across the sky and call it a religious experience, and in a religion like that,
Wow.
or absolutely I did. But I mean, it's really just nature, right? Like,
Right, right. But I bring
uh,
up that question because a lot of Christian belief, especially on like the esoteric side, the more fundamental charismatic Christians will bank 99% of their belief on their experience, right? Rather than their intellect, rather than their studies, their knowledge of the Tanakh, etc. They'll bank it on, well, I experienced Jesus, you know, and we know from a Torah point of view that Deuteronomy 13 states, that kind of stuff really doesn't matter. It's about the message. So that's really what fueled the question, was like, even in a religion like this, did you have that religious experience that could make you feel like maybe this is real?
not really, no. Like
No? Okay.
the signs that they tell you are supposed to be religious, right? Like, but often even I would be the one to like when somebody would say, "Oh, I saw two ravens today," I'd be like, "That really, isn't significant to see two animals outside." Like even when I'm fully in that religion, right? Like that the ravens, were they doing anything special? Were they circling you? Like did they land on your shoulder and whisper in your ear or anything like that? And
Mm.
since that ever happened, I never really considered seeing animals or things like that as a sign from anything other than outside is where they live, right? So,
Yeah, right, right.
but in transitioning over, I've definitely had significant religious experiences. Like my quality of life has just gone right up since I've started following Noahide law
Wow,
and
it's incredible.
that God is the one true God, and the
Amen.
reason it is in His name, and that's my life has just gotten so much better. Like I haven't seen miracles or anything like that, but I mean, just the change in my life with everything that's happened to me is just amazing.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Were there any, because you said you had this experience with this young man you were giving some advice to, and that caused you to dig deep into the Tanakh, or the Old Testament, as you said. But did that religion you left, did it have any texts? Did it have really like a set theology you were supposed to adhere to, or?
it does, but they weren't like that's a very old religion, and a lot of things have changed. Like,
Hmm.
with wars, and then like obviously when Christianity came to that area, they destroyed everything like they do, and integrated it more into Christian culture. So, but they never really had like a writing or anything. It's all just orally passed down. So, I mean, depending on who you're talking to, you're going to get a whole different set of what Norse mythology is all about,
Hmm.
or what it believes. But I mean, they do have commandments, but they're much just like the Ten Commandments or the Noahide laws. It's the same kind of idea.
Okay.
They
So
just
just the
basically commandments
basic
and made,
ethics,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Hmm. Cool. Um, Man, I had a question in my head and I just completely forgot it. Um, but yeah, can you go a little bit more into, um, as you were leaving, what you were noticing in the Tanakh that was really fueling, this is the truth. I can't argue with this, because it's a huge transition. I mean, that's the religion we were in prior wasn't even Abrahamic, right? So as you're reading the Tanakh, what really sparked that, you know?
I wouldn't say there's any one thing, but like definitely getting a different, getting the actual truth, like what Satan actually is. If like the actual, like the Christian view of Satan is completely different than the Jewish one.
Right, right.
Um, and also like things that God said to Noah, like when Noah asked God to reveal his face, and God told him that he would reveal the back. And to me, that's like, when you look at a picture and you see the back of it, it's all messed up like a tapestry or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mess in the back, but you look at the picture in the front, and that's something so much more amazing. So to me, like looking at the universe and space and all that, that's the mess in the back, and then one day we're going to see the front. And to me, that's just so much that I honestly believe that that's true. Like, and there's all kinds of things that just make a lot more sense when you have the Torah behind it to
Yeah,
explain, like even
def-
human nature, like how we behave and our free will. It all makes sense when, at least to me, when it's explained by a rabbi
yeah,
from the.
yeah. Definitely, because when it has the backbone of Torah behind it, it just resonates. It resonates with our soul, because that's not that Hashem's mind can be fragmented, but that's a piece of Hashem's mind. The Torah is how we see into the mind of Hashem, really. So of course it resonates with us as someone who's made in the image of God, right? So it totally makes sense. But you had mentioned like the what Satan is, truly and all that, and how that didn't align with the Christian idea. Um, Looking at Christianity and looking at Norse mythology, could you see like the polytheistic parallels? Would you say there was anything similar in theology or practice even?
Well, yeah, the holiday celebration in Norse mythology is called Yule.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Christmas themes come from that holiday. Like Odin is the image of Santa Claus. That is like that literally is where they got Santa Claus from.
Right.
Father Christmas going down the chimney. That's an Old Norse thing, because during the holidays, when I guess you'd call him a shaman, would come around, he would come down the chimney because the houses would be blocked by snow. The only way to get in would be through the chimney.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Uh, the Yule tree, which most people will know it as a Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot of things are similar, and just because Christianity absorbed a lot of that to bring Norse people into their fold, making an easier transition. So
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think in like the Scandinavian languages, to wish someone a Merry Christmas, you still say like "God Yule," pretty much, right?
something
Um,
like that.
yeah, so I mean, they didn't even bother to change the holiday name. So,
Oh, and even the star on the tree, I'm pretty sure is a Norse practice. Even though by coincidence there's the star over Bethlehem and all that, but
right.
just took I'm not sure on the star thing though, but I'm pretty sure that was just a Norse thing as well.
Well, yeah, I know that in a lot of old ancient cultures and religions, astrotheology and stargazing was a major part, especially in like Zoroastrianism and in the ancient Near East. I mean, I guess I could ask you if you aren't sure about that star thing, was constellation gazing and stuff like that, was that a major part in the Norse mythology?
Not so much, but the Northern Lights are considered like the road to heaven, which would be called Valhalla.
Oh, okay. And that's
Um,
where I mean, for everyone who's seen the movie Thor, I assume that's what like the Rainbow Bridge
yeah,
is.
pretty much.
Okay.
And rainbows are considered that as well. It's the same idea.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, that's about it. Yeah. To my knowledge, I don't know of any like significant stars or anything like that.
Gotcha. But just an overall, awareness of nature and the sky and all that stuff seems very prevalent here. So
Yeah.
yeah. So it seems like it would make sense that in some way or another that the star atop the tree would tie in somehow. And I don't think I brought this up. You are from Canada, right?
Oh yeah.
So is that faith system common in Canada, or was this like a very minority type thing, or
Um, it's common in some areas.
really? Okay.
Common religion to begin with. So
Right.
most of the people you'll meet are going to be met on Facebook groups, things like that. But in my town, it's mostly Christian and Catholic. I would say 80%. But I do occasionally see men with berserker tattoos on their hands,
Hmm.
and Mjolnirs, the hammer of Thor on their neck or something like that to indicate that they're part of that. So
Wow.
whether actually part of that or they just saw the movies or whatever is something different. But I personally wouldn't want the brand of berserker on my hand. But something I guess they think is cool. So
Yeah. But yeah, so let's get back to the Judaism part again. Um, as you're making this transition, did you catch any flack from family or fellow Norse Odinists? Did you catch any flack on this, or?
well, like family, I mean, they're never gonna say anything. Like no, not from family at all. I mean, my family is very open to anything really. So, but from fellow Norsemen, like any of them that are my actual friends, they no, like not at all.
Hmm.
Respecting other people's faiths is actually something that is quite common in that religion. But yeah, from some of the younger people and things like that, yeah, for sure, but nothing significant.
Gotcha.
Yeah, nothing that was I really had to pay attention to anyway.
Right. And your last name, Vankoughnett, do you have any ancestral ties to?
Yeah,
I guess that'd be Scandinavia. Is that kind of another factor
yep.
that? Okay.
It's a Scandinavian like Denmark is a Scandinavian country, so that's where the name comes from. It comes from Denmark, and yeah, I'm a descendant of Danes, which were Vikings.
Cool.
Lots of people are though from that region, so yeah.
Hmm. Right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's an incredible. To me, it's like the gap you had to cover. Like for me personally, I came from very fundamental Christianity. Had a very solid knowledge of the Tanakh, etc. And then when I left, it's kind of just like you get rid of Jesus and you just rely on Hashem. But was it like hard to lay down Odin and Thor and Loki, was it like hard to just sweep that aside and say, you know what, Hashem, you're it, you know?
Yeah, actually, it still is. I'm not gonna lie. Like I have a lot of years of idolatry, like things that I built with my own hands that I spent a lot of time working on it. It's hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
Even noticing like signs that you're supposed to notice, I just notice them out of habit.
Hmm.
Like I don't interpret them anymore or do anything with them, but just out of habit, if I see a sign, I'll just kind of look at it or whatever. But I don't consider, like, I don't worship those idols anymore, and I am getting rid of them. It's just a lot of them are under a lot of snow right now, so
Okay.
I don't want to dig them up. But yeah, it's still difficult. Even the music I listen to is all Norse, which it's just music, and of course I can listen to it, but at the same time, it brings me back into that how I felt when I was that way, and
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
but I have accepted Hashem completely, and I just ask him for help in getting rid of all this idolatry, and it's been many years of it, so
Right, right.
I'm doing it, and yeah.
Yeah. How long exactly was it, if you don't mind me asking, that you were in that?
Oh, I'm 39 now, and I started because I was a pagan since I've been 16 years old. So,
Wow. Wow.
and I found Hashem when I was 38. So I've been doing this for about half a year.
Wow. Baruch Hashem. That's that's incredible, man. I mean, like I said, this isn't a story I hear every day. I hear a lot about Christians who leave, but someone who actually, I have quite many Jewish friends, and we talk about, how things are different now than they were in like the biblical period, for example, and how like the pull to idolatry isn't as strong. That's why the majority of the world's religions are Abrahamic, right? Um, so to actually like that, I'm a craftsman. I do woodworking, so I understand like how attached you can get to something you build with your own two hands.
Yeah.
I totally get that. So when you said that about, you know, I assume maybe it's like a wood carved out of wood or something, or a stone. I'm not sure.
It's stones and things from nature that I gathered personally,
Okay.
like feathers, and yeah, it's stones dug into the ground into the shape of what's called runes, and
Okay.
they're supposed to be protection runes. They're just to protect my house,
Okay.
basically.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean, they look nice, but at the same time, it's idolatry, and I got to
Yeah.
get rid of it. So
Yeah.
it will. I'm waiting for the snow to go away.
Right. Right. But yeah, like I said, I can totally understand where you're coming from with that. Like, for example, if I build a table, there's sometimes like I just want to keep it in my house and not give it to the customer, because you really do develop some type of attachment because it's the work of your hands, right? So I can totally understand like this was a religious, I want to say artifact. This was like a religious trinket, a religious symbol, a symbol of your belief, and you made it yourself. So I can really understand that like creator to created relationship, you know?
Yeah,
And so, man, that just adds a whole other level to what you have to be going through to relinquish all that, you know? For me, it was just, it's not like I carved a statue of Jesus because I could probably say the same thing you are, that it's hard to let that go. Um, Man, that's like so insightful, and honestly, like props to you, because I can only imagine how hard that has to be, when it's something you actually made yourself. That's wow. Yeah, and I feel like probably nearly all of my viewers won't be able to relate to that either, you know what I mean? Because that's just such a different practice. So, you had that Catholic school education. So, do you think that kind of helped when you started hearing like the rabbis giving their lectures and their explanations, because you kind of had that initial as you said, Old Testament understanding, did that allow it to resonate with you a little bit more because you had heard the stuff before?
Well, it actually, because of that, and hearing that it was completely different when you hear it from a rabbi. A lot of it's the same. Like I was able to understand like Exodus and Genesis and things like that, but hearing the differences, knowing that the Torah is the original,
Right.
but this
Right.
original written, and then hearing the differences in the Bible, like the New Testament to that, it let me understand that this is even more real
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like why would they hide it from us like the original? Well, it's not even like they hide it from us. It's just they give us a different book and then say this is the one and don't worry about that other one. I don't.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely going to Catholic school did help with the transition because I just understood a little more. That's all, and
For sure.
basic understanding, like just a big knowledge of it. So
Do you think if you didn't have that, it would have been even, you think you would have left? Do you know what I mean? Do you think if the only religious experience you had was Odinism that you would have even regarded the Tanakh at all, or?
I think I would have, yes, because what led me there was not, what led me there was basically another Odinist that needed help, and basically I because I didn't understand anything about the Jewish faith, I had to go and research it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what led me there. Just my knowledge of Catholicism I probably would have had anyway because I do study a lot of stuff like religion, things like that.
Okay.
Just but no, I don't think I think I would have still with that experience of just helping that young man out with his
Wow.
anger.
Wow.
I get where he's at right now with that.
Hmm.
He didn't go through with whatever he was. I think he was just a young
Well,
man trying.
thank God for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just I think he was really just trying to get attention and thinking he was saying the right thing by saying, he watched too much TV and thought that he was saying something good when really he
Right.
was. And
Right.
he just needed to be told, that this isn't how you behave in
Mhm.
society. I think it is or not. I don't know. But I really hope he didn't go through with anything like that. So,
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's a different time now. You're not people aren't getting on longboats and conquesting, So,
no,
um,
like I point out to a lot of people is that is what they did for sure, but they weren't the only ones who did that. Like
right, right.
that
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
happened back then, no matter who you were.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So
Definitely.
they were just noted because they did it a little better sometimes than other people,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they did it against Christians, which was unheard of. Like nobody attacked Christians really back then like that, and they did. So that's
Hmm.
basically what. And I mean, the Viking culture, like it's not even really like the word Viking is a verb, not a noun.
Mhm.
You go Viking, but you're just a Norseman who went Viking. You're not like
Okay.
a. That's just kind of something that's been thrown around over the years with
Right,
people.
right. Hmm.
But yeah, that's a lot of that. I think a lot of that anger, I think, comes from things like that. Just
Yeah, definitely.
so
Yeah, and that's a shame because it's painting a picture that isn't necessary, you know?
yeah, but I'm just I'm glad I found Hashem and that
Yeah, I mean,
I think that the story, like my story of how it's such, it seems just unreal that this would happen to me is just obvious proof that if you ever needed proof that there is a God out there and He's good, I know I'm supposed to be humble, but my story is proof. Like,
oh, for sure.
no,
Definitely.
like I'm still alone out here. There's no other Noahides around me. There's no Jewish people around me. I'm literally just here by myself. So, I mean, that doesn't happen,
Yeah,
and it did,
definitely.
really did. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like anything, you have my number. I can get you connected in groups, Torah study groups, etc. You just let me know. We can get you plugged in, and you can start to have a bit more um, interaction. I'm in a group on, I don't know if you have WhatsApp or not, but I'm in a group on WhatsApp, and there are Noahides from just about every continent. Europe, South America, uh, Africa. So Canada. So we'd be glad to have you in there, and just gives you a little bit of interaction with people of like faith. Because I'm the same way. I don't have anyone nearby. It's just me, and so being able to interact with people via Facebook or text message or WhatsApp or whatever, it's really been a blessing and allows me to have a little bit of fellowship and camaraderie. So I can totally sympathize with you there, 100%.
Yeah, that is one thing I noticed about this group of people, though, Noahides. Immediately when I joined a Facebook group for Noahides, immediately I was contacted by a rabbi, and immediately received help and Torah knowledge.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, so absolutely, I would join any group or anything like that just to be part of, just to have more company, more like-minded people to talk with, and get more knowledge about. Because
Right.
I'm brand new at this. I've never I haven't even been doing this a year yet. So
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Oh, I did have an. My mind is like all over the place today. I did have another question, but I can't think of what it is now. Oh, you had mentioned about how you want to remain humble and how your story's proof. Definitely. But I really think that because you were sincere in your beliefs, like you were there to help people, you wanted to be a bridge of morality for other people, right?
yeah,
I really think, and that's a major part of the formula, I think, is just being humble and sincere and just, wanting truth, right? I think that's such a big part in how we get closer to Hashem. We understand that there's Hashem and no other, right? So if you really had this like humility and sincerity and you just wanted to be a light in the world, you know, so I can see it definitely. That's the formula to you making this transition because you were just here to help this guy. So like I said, it's brilliant story, beautiful story, so inspirational. And by chance, like when you gave him this advice and you searched out Judaism to learn and understand, did you share with him any of your findings, or was he just way too angry at Jewish people to want to bridge that? Or
well, as part of showing him that we don't accept this, I got him removed from the group, and he stopped contacting me. So
oh, okay.
it's because I wanted him to have that wake up call, like this is not acceptable in our group here, and you can't do that.
Right, definitely.
I didn't block him or anything. He was still able to talk to me, but he just had no response. And no, I've not actually shared any of what I found with any other Odinists, just because I'm not ready for that. That's
Yeah.
barking up a big tree.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'm not really sure if I'm into wanting to like convert people. Like if
Right,
I'm
right.
going to do that, my actions and through inspiring people, not by like telling them to convert or
Yeah.
anything like that. So but no,
Okay.
I've not shared any knowledge with any
Gotcha.
people, just because I don't know if I really know. Like I've only just started, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know really. If anybody wanted to know, I'd point them out to a rabbi that they can talk to, or someone a little more knowledgeable than myself.
Right.
So
Yeah. Right track, man. That's the that's the perfect answer, for someone in your situation. Um, like I said, I can tell you're very humble, you're very sincere, and you just keep wanting more of the truth. And like anything, we who are hungry for truth, if you're willing to look for it, you'll find it. And Hashem guides us along the way. But yeah, is there anything else about your story, about the transition that you'd like to share that might stick out, or anything that you think could be, eye-opening for, people like myself who aren't accustomed to this type of transition.
Honestly, I would just, anybody who's from my background who would like to maybe explore this, don't be afraid, and just go for it. Like, listen to the rabbis, and you can see that it's real. And
Yeah.
that's all. It's a tough transition, but I mean, you're not alone. I'm here, and you can do it. It's basically all I can say. Is I can only really speak for people from my background. Like, I can understand from your point, being from Christian, how transitioning would be for you, but from people from my background, like, I have been lucky to not receive any ridicule, but you can definitely lose family members over this. So
Definitely, for sure. Yeah, it's a lonely path. It's a lonely
yeah,
path, and no matter what background it's from, if it's misaligning with everyone you love, that's not easy, regardless if you're the most Christy Christian or an Odinist,
yeah.
Um, so yeah, totally, totally.
That's basically all I can say, though, is just for anybody from my background, and not to give up, and just keep searching for the truth. You'll find it. It's right there, and it always has been. So keep on going.
Yeah. Wow. Amen, brother. That's beautiful. And I can give you that same advice, man. Just keep on going.
Oh, I
Keep
will.
studying, keep studying, keep searching, keep praying. That's, and Hashem loves you, Hashem loves you enough to even have you in this position in the first place, right? So it's humbling, it's beautiful. Every one of these interactions, interviews I do, I just get more and more amazed and humbled at, how faithful Hashem is, you know. Um, Especially on this one. Like this 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 really has been, and I hate to like be harping on this, but it's so different, you know? It's so such a different religious process, you know? And to me that's like you said, it's proof at the truth of Hashem, the truth of his word, and how if that's what you want for your life, it's right there, So Justin, I really want to thank you for coming on, man. This has been incredible. Like, half the time I don't even really know what to say during this interview because it's just so humbling for me. It really is. It's incredible at the starting point you were at and where you're at now. But like I said, that invitation is completely extended. If you'd like to get plugged in with the group of myself and my friends, Noahides from across the world, you're more than welcome. Yeah, but everybody, Justin Vankoughnett, thank you so much, my friend, for coming on here. It's really been a pleasure, and it's been, like I said, an inspiration. And I want to thank you for being so open and willing to tell your story, because I know it's not easy.
Yeah, surprisingly, it wasn't easy, but I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I can tell people that God's good and God is real. So
yeah. Well, all right, everybody. Thanks for watching. As always, there are the different resources in the description of this video. Check them out. We have all sorts of books, whether it be for the Noahide life or Counter-Missions Resources. So make sure to check that out. Once again, in conclusion, thank you, Justin. This has been the Exodus Project. We'll see you next time.